From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Tasmania's salmon industry is being rocked by explosive claims that dead and diseased fish have been harvested for human consumption. That's according to 2 independent politicians, citing documents and whistleblowers as evidence. But the claims are being strongly rejected by stakeholders.
Another issue in a series that has plagued Tasmanian salmon farmers in recent months. Now Huon Aquaculture, Tassal and Petuna are facing serious accusations by a politician and an independent candidate.
All 3 now stand accused of processing diseased and dead salmon, dead from rickettsia disease, being processed for human consumption.
Shining the spotlight mainly on Huon, citing company documents from 2014 outlining procedures for harvesting fish after a mass die-off, which state in any large mortality event, as many fish as possible should be recovered for harvest and processing, and any fish which the gills can bleed is potentially recoverable and should immediately be bled.
No humans should ever be fed diseased, dead animals.
The pair claim Huon was following the policy as recently as 2018, saying they've also heard from 5 anonymous industry whistleblowers about unethical processing practices throughout the sector.
If it's not current practice, then the industry needs to prove that.
I believe we've reached the tipping point now.
The state government says the allegations have not yet been verified, backing the industry to turn things around following mass salmon mortalities, fish oil chunks washing up on beaches, and Huon losing its RSPCA certification, all in the past month.
We're talking hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of jobs that are involved in this industry, and we need to support those people and show them a bit of faith.
The Federal Fisheries Minister argues more should be done to strengthen environmental regulations in wake of recent incidents.
I think the state government could and should do better when it comes to the EPA and the industry.
A Huon Aquaculture spokesperson says everything that hits the shelves from the company is safe to eat, and its processing facilities are extensively and independently audited for food safety. Petuna is rejecting claims of harvesting dead or diseased fish, while Tassal also dismisses the accusations. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
The bus union has accused Metro Tasmania of putting money ahead of workers' safety after it reportedly directed drivers not to take part in a fare suspension action. Earlier this week, the union instructed drivers to let passengers board free of charge and later claimed Metro threatened to dismiss drivers who refused to collect fares. It follows workers reporting a rise in assaults and robberies, with 1 driver hospitalised after being assaulted last weekend. Metro Tasmania says it expects passengers to pay as usual. With a stadium-sized problem on his hands, Jeremy Rockcliffe has turned to Adelaide Oval to find inspiration for Macquarie Point. In 2014, it was a project South Australian voters didn't want. Now leaders there say it's an asset they can't imagine the city without.
On the hallowed turf of Adelaide Oval, Jeremy Rockcliffe gets a behind-the-scenes tour from a man who understands the battle raging in Tasmania at the moment. Former Premier and now Crows boss John Olsen went against the grain to push for the redevelopment of this precinct in 2014.
It was a troubled journey.
But 11 years later, you'll struggle to find a naysayer.
Those that were opposed to it now recognise the overall economic and social and community benefit really outweighed their opposition.
It's a story of triumph the Tasmanian Premier would very much like to replicate.
We're talking about essentially turning a wasteland into something iconic like the Adelaide Oval.
I think it'll do a lot of good for the Tasmanian economy, so I can't wait to see it happen. The Adelaide Oval redevelopment was really good for our city and our state as a whole.
The South Australians see Tasmania's chosen site beside the Derwent as a blank slate, offering the same potential as a precinct that's risen from the ground around the Torrens. Parklands, convention centre, theatre and hotel, a picture of what Hobart could have in a few years' time.
We're really looking forward to seeing not only what the stadium can be, but what the precinct can be to really electrify and activate that whole area. Because here people are having a drink, going out for meals, 365 days of the year.
Outside of major sporting events, Adelaide Oval has established itself as a tourism attraction in its own right all year round. 1.9 million people walk through the gates here every year for game days, functions, tours, and to walk along the top of the famous arched roof.
All of the facilities are used in a way that is well beyond the scope of what we thought in the initial stage.
The big question is whether the Premier can convince people back home that Tasmania can taste the same success.
What I have learnt here is to stick to your guns, go the journey, appreciate and sell the vision, absolutely, but persistence pays off.
And let's go to Nick Kelly in Adelaide now. Nick, what are the next steps for the stadium?
Well, essentially, Kim, the sales pitch can now ramp up as Jeremy Rockcliffe returns home to Tassie with the fresh ideas and positivity that he's picked up here in Adelaide. While he's in town, the Premier tonight attends the Australian Tourism Awards just in the convention centre next door to where we are here, where he'll be rubbing shoulders with tourism operators from around the country, which is yet another chance to pick up some inspiration for how our own industry can be revitalised off the back of the stadium. But Kim, of course, when it does come to the stadium, before we get too carried away, the project plans do need to go through the approvals process with the Tasmanian Planning Commission.
And that assessment is due by September, so thanks very much there, Nick. The nation-leading Antarctic studies program in Tasmania is at risk of laying off all its staff due to a lack of funding. That's according to the Greens. Senators Peter Whish-Wilson and Nick McKim are promising to push to secure $50 million over 5 years for the Australian Centre for Excellence in Antarctic Science, with the federal election due to be called soon. The initiative focuses on climate science and employs 16 full-time researchers in the state.
We need to understand our weather and longer term our climate. So they're absolutely critical for farmers across the country, for just about every Australian.
The federal government has been contacted for comment. 6 Greater Hobart councils have joined forces alongside a former Tasmanian Premier in the fight against racism. It was part of a new campaign hoping to provide the tools to tackle deliberate and casual discrimination wherever it occurs.
6 councils all marching with one aim.
Be brave, call out racism.
Former Premier, now Chair of Tasmania's Migrant Resource Centre, Peter Gutwin, launching the We Stand Together Against Racism campaign. The event coinciding with International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination.
It will amplify the voices of local government, the leaders in our community, and it'll send a message of hope and importantly of acceptance and inclusion.
Aiming to show solidarity, committing to a future free from discrimination. It's an initiative spearheaded by Brighton Council.
It will also provide tools of what to do when you see a victim of racism or when you experience it.
We send a very clear message that we stand united against racism. Diversity is our strength.
Walking along Hobart's waterfront, the campaign not just focusing on ways to shut down racism, but to also champion the work of migrants and refugees in our community.
In the north of the state, if you have a sick child, their life will more than likely be saved by an Indian or Sri Lankan paediatrician.
And for those wanting to join in the fight, there's one very important message.
The standard that you walk past is the standard that you accept.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Growing numbers of young Tasmanians are moving interstate, according to the latest data from the Bureau of Statistics. The figures show more than 5,000 residents left the state in the third quarter of last year. Labor claims the migration is due to mismanagement of the economy. The Shadow Treasurer says it's a major blow to the economy.
We need skilled people here working, contributing to the economy, paying taxes to help deliver the services that we all rely upon.
The government is adamant it's boosting the economy, investing in healthcare, education and infrastructure to ensure Tasmanians remain in the state. Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton has landed in our northwest, promising millions in extra funding for Tasmania's freight equalisation scheme. If elected, a Liberal government will also undertake another review of the troubled program.
There's been a significant increase in input costs and a lag in the support from the scheme.
and it puts us at a large cost disadvantage compared to our mainland counterparts. We're trying to get our product from Tasmania through to the mainland.
A Senate inquiry into the freight equalisation scheme already handed down its findings in December. A healthcare program inspired by the pandemic is being expanded in Tasmania, allowing patients to access treatment and support in their own home. It aims to provide around-the-clock care for short-term illnesses as well as chronic conditions.
It's healthcare delivered from a distance, practitioners consulting virtually with patients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In their home, closer to their communities and their loved ones.
The Care at Home's acute virtual monitoring program is designed to mimic hospital care quality, a team working together allowing patients to be treated remotely.
We've got teams of nurses, doctors and allied health
already in place since COVID in 2021, assisting over 51,000 Tasmanians following its launch. It's now expanding its services for short-term illnesses.
For Tasmanians who might have acute illnesses like gastroenteritis or a UTI or cellulitis, or they're being looked after in the hospital but they feel ready that they could go home but just might need a little bit of assistance.
As well as boosting management for patients with long-term chronic conditions.
Heart failure patients, patients with respiratory disease and really also looking at diabetes mellitus.
Providing necessary tools to monitor their own health.
We are able to send out virtual monitoring kits.
Allowing patients to check their heart rate, oxygen levels and temperature, a service especially vital for older Tasmanians.
One of our vulnerable populations, we don't want them to get fatigued or it's sitting in waiting rooms.
It's hoped it will continue easing pressure on public hospitals, potentially reducing unnecessary admissions.
Frees up hospital beds, so we have better access and flow in our hospitals. We have more ED availability.
Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, a long-running legal saga involving one of the Beaconsfield mine disaster survivors has finally been heard in court. Brant Webb was charged with 2 counts of assault more than 3 years ago. The 56-year-old taking the stand in the Launceston Magistrates Court to tell his side of the story. The judge has reserved his decision on the matter, with a decision expected to be handed down in May. Country music stars the Wolf Brothers are adding more silverware to the trophy cabinet, taking home top honours at the inaugural Country Town Awards. The innovative event saw 30,000 music fans voting for their favourite artists across 10 categories, with the Tasmanians named Group of the Year and Australian Tour of the Year. A major link road in Huonville is nearing the finish line, which will help ease congestion and improve safety for motorists and pedestrians. Construction on the new thoroughfare near Flood Road started in 2023 and has been co-funded by the state and federal governments, totalling around $30 million.
We need to be able to take some traffic out of the main street, and by doing this link road, this is what we're achieving.
These expenditures on major roads is all about making it more convenient for the travelling public, but also safer for the public.
The new road will open to drivers on Monday at a reduced speed limit until line marking and landscaping is finished by May. Hundreds of classic cars from around the country have roared into southern Tasmania to celebrate 100 years of Ford in Australia. Car fanatics will have the chance to get up close and personal with the distinctive Falcon hardtop at a showcase at Hobart's Parliament Lawns tomorrow. The impressive fleet will then embark on a statewide tour over the weekend. North Hobart Oval is set to host an exciting day of footy, with both state senior teams facing some big interstate matchups. The women's side will face off against the reigning VFLW premiers North Melbourne. Recent Hall of Fame inductee Jess Wouchner will return to don the mat for the first time since retiring from the AFLW.
Been training, pretty hard the last sort of 6 weeks or so. So I'm feeling good on the training track. Hopefully that also eventuates on the field as well.
While the men's side is looking to get back on the winners list in their game against Frankston.
Touching on the Norwood game, it's getting back to our identity and crashing it under and what we can control. So that's our main focus. The
action will kick off with the men's game from 10:30 tomorrow morning. There were emotional scenes on court in the US when Ulverston basketballer Rain Smith suffered an injury blow in the NCAA college tournament. Battling pain for most of the opening round clash, the 22-year-old's right ankle gave way with just 11 minutes left in the game, the Louisville guard dropping to the floor in agony. Smith's family watched on from the sidelines as he was given a standing ovation when he exited the court.
I just hate it. Kind of ended like that. I couldn't finish out there with my teammates and that staff. They've given me an opportunity, just like a kid from Australia.
Sadly, it's the end of the road for the Cardinals after the 14-point loss to Crichton. The Tasmania Tigers' chances of Sheffield silverware may have slipped away, but they're not letting it overshadow the triumphs of their season. One being Jake Weatherald finishing as the competition's top scorer with 906 runs.
We're wrapped with the way he has performed. He came here as a quality player, all right.
Jordan Silk also celebrating his own season milestone.
There's not many people that get to play one Shield game, let alone 100. So I'm incredibly proud of that achievement.
He says he's got more in the tank, hoping to notch up more Shields moving forward. It will be a fierce derby in the Women's Super League this weekend. Olympic will be looking for redemption, coming off a 12-0 battering from champions Devonport.
The strikers who come at you like a set of waves. They are relentless in their pressure, and it was a baptism of fire.
Riverside's hoping fresh blood will help them against Launceston United. Meanwhile, in the NPL, the Clarence Zebras are navigating a shaky start to their season, adjusting to loss of coach Mark Astley. Now in the hands of Chris Hay, the team is confident they'll deliver results.
Under Chris, so far, we're building something and we'll be able to work something out from here.
They're up against Launceston City. Elwick Racecourse will be a buzz of excitement tomorrow night when it hosts the Tasmania Cup. 8 local horses will feature this year alongside 6 interstate starters.
Ewa Justice, who won the race last year, is also back this year, driving one of her father's horses from Victoria.
Meanwhile, Tas Racing has announced various grants to enhance the welfare of racing animals.
It contributes up to $100,000 toward programs and initiatives and equipment and facilities that enhance the welfare of racing animals both during and after their racing careers.
To apply, head online. Entries close on May 9.
Good evening. Hobart and Devonport 20 today. Launceston and Burnie reached 21. Temperatures down on average. Bushy Park 20 as well. Smithton, Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and all the islands 19. St Helens and Grove 18 today. Strawn 17. Lyawini our low with 0 overnight. Widespread areas of low cloud over the northeast today with patchy low cloud elsewhere across the state. More coming with that front as you can see. A band of mid-level cloud approaches Tasmania from the west with areas of middle and high cloud over most of the mainland. Tomorrow another cold front will cross Tasmania in the afternoon. A high pressure system over the Bight extends a ridge over Victoria. The west northwesterlies we have at the moment will shift southwesterly during the day tomorrow, reaching 30 knots over the south. And we do have a strong wind warning there from Tasman Island around to Sandy Cape. Saturday for Hobart, a possible shower and 22. Definite shower for Medina, 17 the high and 21 the top for Oatlands. Launceston looking for a high of 24 and partly cloudy. Devonport 21, a shower for Lyawini, 2 overnight, 15 the maximum. 21 for Burnie, showers for Strawn, 19 and a high of 24 Marrawar. St Helens tomorrow 22 and sunny. The chance of a shower further south, Swansea 24, Orford cloudy and 23. On Sunday, light showers over the east, northeast and central north, but fine for the rest of the state. Fine on Monday, apart from another light shower in the west and far south. And on Tuesday, similar weather, along with light winds and afternoon sea breezes. Sunny weather in Perth tomorrow, along with Adelaide and Melbourne. Partly cloudy in Canberra, a possible shower in Sydney and a shower on the way in Brisbane, 30 the top there. Partly cloudy in Hobart at the moment at 16, 17 in Launceston, Devonport partly cloudy and 17. Filling in for Nick Kelly again tonight, Kim, good on you. I'm sure he'll bring you back some stuff from the Barossa when he returns.
Ooh, a bit of wine, chocolate, something. That's a good idea. Thanks, Murph. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.